This episode of The Gauge is brought to you by Power Pro CBD. Guys, this is the best CBD product on the market, period. They're the only CBD company that controls its crops from start to finish. You know, as they say, from dirt to bottle. It's the most pure CBD supplement on the market. There's so many CBD products out there, and most of them are BS. I can tell you most of them are BS. This is not that. This is the only FDA-approved manufacturer of CBD out there. CBD itself, not FDA approved, but this manufacturer is approved by the FDA. Don't buy your CBD at a gas station, guys. This company, third-party tests their product. It's the most pure supplement out there. CBD has so many health benefits, guys. I can tell you from personally using it. Here's what's really nice. It tastes really good. I'm over here squirting CBD in my mouth. I look ridiculous, but it tastes great. Guys, they're offering a great promo here. 15% off and free shipping. Yes, and free shipping. Type in the promo The Gauge at checkout to get that discount. It's powerprocbd.com. That's PWRprocbd.com. Check them out.
This is The Gauge with host Chance Conradu.
Are you freaking serious? It's Conrado. What is up, everybody? This is The Gauge, and I am Chance Conrado. On this episode of the podcast, we have got the man, the myth, the legend, Tilden Hooper. Kaycee Feild. We had an absolute treat having Kaycee fly in to Fort Worth and hang out on the show. He's a four-time NFR champion, four-time average champion. The dude has won the American. He's done so many great things. He's such an inspirational dude. He's starting to branch off into business, and I just can't think of anybody who is a better representation of what the sport of rodeo is than my friend here. And I think you guys will get so much out of this episode. Check it out.
Is my nose throwing you off? It kind of goes this way. A little crooked.
I got a crooked nose, too.
How many times you smashed it?
My nose has been broke twice. So once by a horse, once in a fist fight.
The horse come up?
Pawed my face. Yeah, I took a little break of rodeoing for like 2 years, and I don't look like the kind of guy who'd do it, but I did cage fighting for quite a while.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Really? Yeah, I don't ever tell anybody because they don't believe me anyway because of my face. But
did you wrestle when you were growing up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I wrestled, and I even have a freaking purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that I never tell anybody about either.
No kidding.
Yeah, I got into it a long
Heavy.
time, and they used to have this extreme underground cage fighting league in Colorado. All amateur, but I did it 4 times.
You did?
Yeah.
Good for you,
Yeah.
dude.
Got my nose busted in one of them, but I don't think I took a single punch in the other ones because this was 10 years ago. So it was a lot different sport than it is now. But
Yeah, everybody in it now is
you don't want to
freak
fuck
of
around.
nature.
You don't want to fuck around.
Dude, even bar fighting anymore. You don't. You square up with the wrong dude, you're going to get it.
You can't. Yeah. I mean, for more than even just that, I mean, legally, a cop can't even arrest somebody right now.
Yeah.
So getting in a bar fight, I mean, it's stupid.
Got to keep your hand open. I've learned that. As soon as you go like this, it's assault. You can slap the shit out of anybody.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
They can't take you to jail.
Really?
Yeah.
If you slap somebody, you can't go to jail?
Yes.
Come
If
here,
you
Ty.
close your fist, it's assault.
Come here, Ty.
Fuck no, I'm not coming to you.
I've been holding some energy.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, my brother, he was unloading some cows across the road, and some guys pulled up and were yelling at him, and he's like, "Hey, give me a second. I'm unloading 5 cows, and I got 1 horse. Won't take me long at all." And they kept honking.
Mm-hmm.
And he went over there and was going to talk to him. He said he wasn't even mad or anything, and this guy got out and was coming at him hot. So just open hand, slapped him, rolled him off into the borrow ditch, and the next guy come, boom, open hand slapped him, knocked him into the borrow ditch, and the cops came, and they're like, "Yeah, we can't do anything." They're like, "We're pressing charges." They pressed charges, nothing happened.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, so was there like a part of the case where they just asked if like he felt threatened for his life and that's why he did it? Is that the reason, or was it because literally he slapped them?
Well, they got out of the pickup. He was backed across the road and out of the truck before they pulled up, and there was a person a mile down the road that videoed it out of their house and was walking toward it and kept videoing. And so Yeah,
Wow.
out in the middle of
Wait, so
nowhere.
there's a video of this?
Yes.
Do you have it?
I don't. I don't.
It's your brother?
Yeah.
You got to get that. I got to see two guys getting slapped unconscious by one ranchy dude.
Yeah,
Dude,
with his rope in his hand.
With his rope in his hand?
Never put his rope down.
If that's not like a America thing right now, I don't know what is.
It scared him.
Really?
But they were Native Americans and on the res.
Oh.
So it's still kind of
A little different.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, never mind. We can't because they're Native Americans. You can't show that.
Yeah.
What was interesting when I picked you up from the airport, there were no human beings out there except for you. It's just one guy who kind of looks like Fred Durst, Limp Bizkit a little bit with the cowboy hat, and nobody else.
Serious. Limp Bizkit?
Okay, that's a compliment.
Oh.
Limp Bizkit's cool. Was cool.
Was cool.
When I was a kid, that was the cool guy.
Like 98, 99.
I mean, I was really young. Even up into the 2000s, you know. I saw a picture of you with Kid Rock.
Yeah, dude,
Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit were the shit back then.
Kid Rock still is, man.
He's a cool dude. He was at the American. I was like, well, where's he sitting? That's where you took the picture with him, right?
Yeah.
At the American?
Yeah. I told, before we were going over to the American, I told my wife in this order, I said, I want to meet Milana Trump, Donald Trump, and Kid Rock. And then they said Kid Rock was there. I was like, oh, see you, babe. And I ran to him. I'm like, hey, dude, I got this CBD company. We need to do business together. I want to go golfing with you. I don't like golf, but I'll go golfing
I'll
with you.
learn golf.
Yeah.
Did he respond to any of that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. All right. My wife's like, he's sick of you.
He didn't even hear. He's
No.
like, he doesn't even care that you're a 4-time world champion.
No.
He doesn't
No.
even know what you're a world champion in.
I don't think he knew where he was. Tell you.
So you got a CBD company. I mean, he was CBD plus that thing they remove. Yeah. He was straight up stoned off his ass is what it was. He had the what kind of hat is it? It's like a fedora, but not. It's just a top hat, right? Kind
Just a
of
top hat, yeah.
with a freaking diamondback rattlesnake around the top. Dude,
Rattle. Yeah, he looked good. I mean, for Kid Rock, he looked all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least he took the picture with you.
Serious.
You'd be like,
He didn't cool guy me. He really didn't cool guy me. That was pretty cool.
so he wasn't impressed with all the patches?
No. He didn't. I don't think he even read one.
What a dick.
Yeah.
Never mind. You're not cool. Limp Bizkit for life.
No, but the flight over, like you said, it was a little weird pulling into Dallas. Usually Dallas DFW airport's packed.
Oh, yeah.
Salt Lake, it was pretty quiet. American Airlines, they require you to have a mask on. Flight attendant made sure that I had mine.
So you tried to wear a scarf.
Yeah, Polaris Ranger, they gave me a scarf that's like a stretchy, really thin,
Don't lie.
comfortable.
It was knitted, and you know it. I saw it.
These bareback fingers, really good at knitting.
Yeah, no kidding. At least one of them, the one that's not clenching all the time.
The one that can do something. This other one just waves. No, but it's a different time of life, that's for sure. Salt Lake, real quiet. I made it from Genola, Utah, that is an hour drive to my gate, in an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, so no lines, no security, no one sits in the middle seat, which is nice. But
How many people were on the flight?
It was half full.
Oh, I mean, that's more than I would have thought based on how many people weren't standing outside.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've noticed, but flights are still really expensive. They're the price has not gone down. Yeah, you should know.
Yeah.
Thanks for the airfare.
Yeah, thanks to the Gauge podcast. But it's funny. I fly to Denver on Friday, but I could barely find a flight.
Yeah,
That the time made sense. It's just weird. I can't imagine what these airlines are gonna do if this keeps going on.
well, I don't know. I know that the oil field industry, fuel, it's taken a hit so bad. But you think about it, if there's half the flights and half the people driving around, that's half the fuel. And
Yeah.
you start paying attention to that, and then paying attention to where flight times are. Usually you could get anywhere within an hour of time that you needed to be there. And
Right.
now you're either going to be there 4 hours early or 4 hours late. There's not a whole lot of options, and it's just
No.
strange to see that in my career, rodeo, and I started rodeoing full-time in 2006, and I don't know, in 2006, if you got on a red-eye flight, you might be half full and have a full bench to yourself. But other than that, 2006 and 7, after that, every flight was full no matter the time. And so to see it again like it is, it's just, I don't know, it's weird that we're living this time.
It is, and it's sad more than anything, because we were talking when we went and grabbed some lunch just about like restaurants going out of business and just the effect that our economy's had by all this. And I don't know about you, but I never in my wildest dreams thought I would live through something so weird. I don't know about you.
No, I really never thought I would. I don't know. I knew that something was coming. I don't know why. Just maybe bibliography, history, just knowing something was going to come, but not this early in my life. And I think actually now seeing this and how it's happening, how it's unfolding, and with the politicians and how everything's evolving right now, I think this is just a little taste of what I'm going to see in my life, and especially my kids. I think they're going to see something pretty spectacular, or I don't know if it's spectacular is a good way to describe it. Something.
When I think of spectacular, I'm like, I'm thinking good things.
Exciting. Yeah, so
exciting
a catastrophe.
Things. Yeah.
But, my kids, your kids, they were held out for this day and age. They're tough kids. They're raised with the right parents in my mind. I think these last days and these kids are held out for this time. So they'll handle it all right.
Yeah. I mean, with kind of the way society is right now, it's so important to make sure your kids are mentally tough because they got so much up against them.
So many distractions from so many different angles.
Yeah. It's almost unfair, right? Because when I was getting out of high school, like Facebook just barely was a thing, right? And the phones were just barely getting kind of smart, And to see what
they had Snake, the game on the Nokia.
Nope, that's you. That's not me. Nope, I had iPhone 1 when I was in high school. You're a little older than me, Kaycee.
Yeah. But, how old are you?
I'm 28.
I got by a few years.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting to see for sure, but I don't know. Time will never tell. Rodeo's still kicking ass, though. I mean, it's slowed down quite a bit, but the industry and the people, the American people, in my opinion, true American people. I mean, everybody you talk to, they're just happy-go-lucky. This has been good for them. They're staying home with their families. Maybe starting something a little different behind the scenes behind rodeo. And when rodeo happens, guys are very competitive. They're hungry. So when it does...
Well, you were telling me about the entries. Like, we were just talking about this. The entries that you're seeing in the jackpots and the rodeos, I mean...
The bareback ride, like I said, I mean, we're seeing double, sometimes triple the entries in the bareback riding, which is kind of unheard of. I thought maybe there would be 35, 40 bareback riders that rodeoed full-time.
Yeah.
Now there's 80, 85. So it's pretty fun to see the competitiveness and the bareback riding and see the guys coming out of the woodworks and guys that ride really good that I've never seen.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, somebody like you who's just been at it for so long, I mean, that's probably makes you more hungry knowing you've got fresh competition.
It does. We held the Riggin rally. Tilden Hooper and Sid Steiner, they put that on. It's been 3 weeks ago. It was awesome.
Yeah, we had a horse called The Gauge in there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you guys sponsored the event.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. That was awesome. And everybody rode so good. There wasn't one guy that went out there and I thought, man, if he would have pulled his feet right there, he could have been 2 or 3 more points. I didn't have an opinion like that.
Really?
With anybody there.
It was just real impressive.
Really impressive. It was a spurring competition. Everybody come to show off and do their best. It was fun.
I mean, it looked cool and it got press and people who went to it. I wanted to go. I wasn't able to make it over there in time, but it sounded like it was just like just a hoot.
It was awesome. It was the first and only standalone bareback riding event that's ever been done. It was done the right way. Sid had a vision and ran with it. Tilden, he's a hard worker, gets things done. He made it happen. Talk about having another one this fall, for sure having another one next spring. But that was eye-opening for me, too. I've been a part of so many different things, whether it be rough stock rodeo, the ERA, rough stock only, and they all have huge goals, and everybody's got this money guy that's going to help it get started, and he's going to be paid back, or this is a new concept, new judging, and it always goes and goes, and then it just falls apart really fast.
Right.
And the way that this was set up and the way that this was done, the Riggin Rally, the first one was done perfectly. There's so much room for growth. There's not people wanting quantity, meaning more rodeos or more bareback ridings. We focused on the one, got the one done, and we could critique a few things and make things better, but the Riggin Rally thing, I think, is going to be very successful.
It's a cool concept. I mean, if you look at other events, there's tons of, just look at barrel racing, team roping. Out of this area, the Fort Worth area as a whole, you could find a team roping or a barrel race every night of the week. Every night.
Every night. It's awesome, and it's growing the industry so much. The barrel racing is, we've talked about numbers in the barrel racing, is just unbelievable. Yeah. And the same thing with the team roping. As soon as they tiered that system, as soon as they tiered the team roping, you started seeing the USTRC, the regular
World Series,
the World Series. Same thing with the barrel racing. So, if there's a way that we could tier the system with the bareback riding, this is the way. Standalone bareback riding event. See what we can do about it. But it's the future of the bareback riding hasn't looked so good to me in my whole career as of right now.
That's pretty exciting. And when somebody who's been in it so long and then also has achieved so much in that sport to feel so good about it in such a dark time, that's got to inspire a lot of people, because what we need is the next generation, these upcoming guys, to want it as bad as guys like you, guys like Tim, guys like Tilden, and for a while there, you were talking to some people and they thought rodeo was on the decline.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was. The numbers were going down there for a little while, but bareback riding, rodeo across the board hasn't looked so good to me in a long, long time. It's when I started bareback riding, it was all about me. I wanted to win my world championships and do all that. And my dad, as a mentor, was always, you got to do things the right way to where you make an impact on the sport and it lasts forever, or, where you can make the sport better. And this is a way for me, this is an opportunity for me to make the sport of bareback riding better. Maybe not the sport of rodeo. I've tried that, a few different angles, a few different associations. And it just never really, it's what I had to do at the time. It's never like, oh, I wanted to do it, this is the right thing. It's just kind of one of those deals. I was just like, I got to do this because, it feels right. This is what the sport needs. But it was always forced. But this is something that just happened. It flowed. It happened in a couple weeks. It's a hard time right now to ask for money for sponsor dollars during the coronavirus.
Yeah.
No one wants to give money up, and you call and ask for sponsor dollars. It's, hey, you want to give me a couple $1,000? Or we've got a dream. We don't know what it's going to be, but you fired your employees, but can you give us a few $1,000? That's a shitty thing.
You're preaching to the choir.
yeah,
absolutely. But the way it went, it was just cool. And maybe that's just something that needs to happen more instead of the big grandiose thing. You just said something that felt forced. That's how you felt about the ERA. Is like this, you were just kind of like a drag, and you just really, your heart was not in that organization.
It was not necessarily, it wasn't part of the organization, but that's where Bobby Moat was. That's where Justin McDaniel was. That's where Will Lowe was. Tilden Hooper. Those guys that I wanted to continue beating, that when I got to the rodeo and I seen Bobby Moat or, Will Lowe there, those guys are multi-world championships, and I know how hard they work at it and want to beat me every time. And so I was there for the competition level. I didn't want to go to the NFR and not have one world champion in the NFR and me go beat those guys and win another world title. I just felt like beating the best guys was what I really craved.
I liked the way they brought the ERA to the market. It was cool. I remember when they brought it up, and it was like, oh, there's Bobby, there's Trevor, but it created that weird animosity with the PRCA was the weird part.
Yeah, it could have worked so good, and it did. It worked good, and it was a great learning experience, but for some, not bad mouthing the ERA, not bad mouthing the PRCA, not bad mouthing anything that's going on, but the sports across the board with the WCRA, the PRCA, open rodeos, whatever it is, we've got to work together. This is a small industry. In my opinion, it could be so much better if they work together and then put together 12 majors and tiered the sport. Like, I don't know. I keep going back to tiering the sport, and you say that to the PRCA, and they get red in the face, and I don't understand why. I've never really picked their brain that much about it. Maybe because the committees across the country, in my home state, Utah, Delta, Utah, that I don't really go to, or Pleasant Grove that I don't get to.
A little closer to your face there.
Get to go to. They're smaller rodeos. They want us there. They want the big name guys there, especially from their home state.
I mean, it sells their tickets. Yeah,
it does. But the PRCA's got to look at the bigger picture to me, and figure out a way to make it happen. Make it where, I don't have to go compete against a guy, that's on his permit and he draws Virgil and I draw Rooster.
Right.
I just don't think it looks good for the sport, for the spectators.
A lot of the spectators, though, if you think about people occupying a seat, they don't even know that, though.
True.
They don't know what the difference between those two horses you just named are. They don't even understand the scoring.
Yeah.
Of rough stock. They don't. That's your average person who goes, even somebody who buys tickets year in and year out at the NFR, right? Which is one of the most important revenue sources for the PRCA. They don't understand the scoring system necessarily.
I think it is like 80% of the people that go to Vegas are like non-traditional rodeo fans, and the 20% are the only ones that really know the scoring, really know the judging, and follow rodeo and know the cowboys and the horses.
Yeah, they may know the cowboys, but the horses, that's a whole different thing.
It is. It is. That's with tiering the sport, I think you can showcase those star animals a lot easier. Where these rodeos nowadays, there's so much going on. There's so many different stars with 7 events, team rope and calf rope and rough stock ride, and you've got so many world champions, so many stars. It's hard to showcase that one guy. And to tier the sport in the PRCA, it would be very, very tough, but it is possible.
Well, they're a member-based organization. So, I mean, you take that away and a lot of their money goes away.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of what they do is for their committees themselves.
Committees and members.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a membership-driven event or association.
So, I mean, they would have to change their whole business model, which, look at the PBR, right? The way that they market cowboys and bulls and the money that's in there. I mean, you have to look at the parent company of PBR, but they've got it down.
They do such a good job.
But it's really different because there's way less of them.
Yeah.
They're managing a small group, and it's one event.
Yeah.
And it's very cut and dry.
It is. Stay on or get bucked off.
Yeah. Yeah. And their scoring system's relatively simple. People can follow it. But it's a different deal.
It's a whole different beast. It really is. The PRCA is a beast. I mean, to market it, to showcase your stars, showcase your animal athletes, that's a lot of work. And they're doing a great job. The PRCA, like I said, the sport of rodeo is looking better than it ever has.
I agree. I mean, if the big rodeos didn't get canceled, and that's out of their control, what a lot of people don't realize, unless you've been fortunate enough, like I have, to talk to people on rodeo committees to actually try to understand what's going on. It's less of they're worried about this virus. No, they can't get their insurances. It's not the PRCA or the rodeo committees making these decisions necessarily. It's the governing bodies of the areas they hold those events.
Yep. From county to county.
County to county, even city to city. It was a mayor who shut down Houston, and they can't get the insurances they need to do the rodeos right now. So it creates a dangerous situation, and people don't understand. They just want to be mad.
Yeah. It's hard not to be mad, something that you love so much, and it's pretty cut and dry. Coronavirus, do you think it's real or do you think it's fake? Do you think it's political or not? and then not to do your homework and study what is going on. It's pretty easy just to say, well, I don't care, or I'm mad. It's one way or the other.
It's the natural human response. You're 100% right. We were talking about that earlier, but it's just like the other stuff that's going on. It's like it's so easy to get angry, but not actually look at why you're angry.
Yeah.
Because then you might feel stupid for being angry, and nobody wants that.
I think there would be a lot more people feeling stupid about being angry if they looked at the facts.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, it's interesting talking about when you got started. So when you mention your dad, I mean, talk about somebody who left an impact on the sport, right? I mean, the dude was a savage.
He was the most humble man I've ever met in my life. I never once in my life growing up did I hear, you know, I had Black Cat and I was 90 points and I won my 4th world championship, and then my 5th world championship I did this. You know, my dad growing up was my dad. There was no other way I seen it. I didn't see him as a world champion cowboy. I remember, I don't know, I was 4 and I was riding around saying, I'm Lew Field, I'm a 5-time world champion cowboy. But I had no idea, you know, what he had accomplished, what he had done in the sport.
Right.
He was a lot. We were talking about this at lunch too. Is when I first started riding bucking horses, I loved it. There was nothing that come between me and riding bucking horses. And then I got married, and I love my wife more than anything. And so to love bareback ride and love my wife, that was a hard transition for me. And then to have kids, and to love bareback riding so much, and then love these 3 kids and my wife on the other hand, you know, it was hard to mesh. But my dad was always there. I wouldn't say I took advantage of my dad being my coach, but I had so much above everybody else with him on my side. We could talk on the phone, just, you know, I felt like my free arm and my free arm shoulder was behind me a little bit, about 6 seconds, and just was kind of losing grip a little bit. Well, you know, if you'd turn your left toe out a little more and tuck your chin right off the bat, this would fix that. And, you know, after he passed, I went through a little stage there for 2.5 years where, you know, I was just riding horse jump for jump rather than beating him to the ground and beating the horse and making more of the horse. And it was a huge learning curve for me. And, you know, like I said, growing up, I didn't know my dad as a world champion. I didn't, you know, until I got out on the road and rodeoed for 2 or 3 years full time and seen what it took to rodeo full time, until not that I ever disrespected him, but I learned a lot of respect and earned a lot of respect for my dad when I got out on the road and seen what he did firsthand in the bareback riding, the bronc riding, all-around title, all over. I mean, he won Pendleton several times, won Cheyenne several times, Houston, you name it. He won it, and I never heard about any of that growing up, ever.
Because he just left it in the arena.
Yep. He come home, he was dad. He was nothing else but dad. We went camping together, hunting. Rodeo was, you know, it was just kind of on the weekends. Job. Yeah, it was. It really was. And he didn't bring his job home.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to grow up with him. He won 5 world titles. He took stock to the NFR. He produced rodeos for several years, bulls and horses. And then he was the UVSC rodeo coach. He coached a couple champions up there at the college championship. His team won second a couple of times. His biggest accomplishment his biggest accomplishment that he would say was marrying my mom. I mean, he'll say that, or did say that first thing, but the thing that he kind of cherished the most out of his whole career was being a pickup man at the NFR. Mm-hmm. He was selected by the top 20 in the bronc ride and top 20 in the bareback ride, and to have respect from those guys, you know, 30 years after his career was over, was what meant the most to him, and kind of the most cowboy thing that he accomplished.
I mean, the dude was the literal personification of cowboy. I mean, explain to the listeners the award that he won.
Award?
Yeah.
Which one?
Is it the Linderman Award?
Yeah, he won the Linderman Award. So the Linderman Award,
he won it twice, right? Or did he win it 3 times?
3 times.
3 times.
Yep, and the Linderman Award is you have to compete at 2 events in the rough stock and 1 in the timed event, or 2 timed event and 1 rough stock, and highest money earner in that year.
Yep.
And he did that 3 times. So
3 times.
Yeah.
And he's I don't think anybody's done it 3 times, have they? In modern rodeo.
I think his name is Kai Whitaker. I think he's won it a handful of times.
Okay.
Yep, he's done really well. He's a bronc rider, bulldog, or calf roper, and he's a cowboy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. He's a tough guy.
Yeah.
But that he was a great rough stock cowboy, but he wanted to be known as just a good guy. That he didn't care about the accomplishments. He just wanted to be known as a good man that did right, and that was his motto with life. Is, if I ever called him with any sort of issue or concern, it was, well, what do you feel? Do the right thing. That's all you got to do. And that's, at times growing up, back in my dark days, I guess that I pushed that feeling to the side and didn't. But now having a family and kids, to be in a predicament or, be stuck in the mud, if you think about what's right and you really dig down deep and try to figure out what the right way is to do it, seems like it's pretty hassle-free, and the repercussion of what you do is pretty silent.
It's funny, most problems can be traced back to a decision you personally made, right? Pretty much.
I think all of them.
Yeah. This episode of The Gauge is brought to you by Power Pro CBD. Guys, this is the best CBD product on the market, period. They're the only CBD company that controls its crops from start to finish. As they say, from dirt to bottle. It's the most pure CBD supplement on the market. There's so many CBD products out there, and most of them are BS. I can tell you most of them are BS. This is not that. This is the only FDA-approved manufacturer of CBD out there. CBD itself, not FDA approved, but this manufacturer is approved by the FDA. Don't buy your CBD at a gas station, guys. This company, third-party tests their product. It's the most pure supplement out there. CBD has so many health benefits, guys. I can tell you from personally using it. Here's what's really nice. It tastes really good. I'm over here squirting CBD in my mouth. I look ridiculous, but it tastes great. Guys, they're offering a great promo here. 15% off and free shipping. Yes, and free shipping. Type in the promo, The Gauge, at checkout to get that discount. It's powerprocbd.com. That's PWRprocbd.com. Check them out. It's really interesting kind of to see like the way you light up when you talk about your dad.
Yeah.
Just because it just sounds like not what you would think a traditional rodeo dad would be like. You think rough, you think this, and I have a rodeo dad myself and pretty good guy, but it's just it's a weird life to raise kids in. And to hear that your dad was able just to compartmentalize all of that, leave it there, and then come home and just be dad. that's...
I was so blessed as a child growing up, where we grew up, the opportunities that we had. My mom and dad, no matter if it was BMX racing, snowmobiles, dirt bikes, whatever I got into, it was 100% support from them. And okay, now you're in this, you do what it takes to win.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what we were in. It was 100% support behind us. But at the same time, we do it to do it perfect, and we do it to win.
Yes, it's funny. Yeah. I remember seeing your dad. He did an interview with you. It was a long time ago. And he was like, Kaycee wasn't good when he started. It was something like that. He's like, he wasn't good, but he worked hard. He got good.
Yeah. And I wasn't. I started getting on full-size bucking horses. We always had colts, and we always had horses around, and he produced rodeo. So when the kids chickened out on the sheep riding, I was the fill-in. So I'd get on about 5 or 6 sheep every night we produced a rodeo, or calf riding. And it was fun for me. It was just another thing to do. But the bareback riding, the bronc riding, I was horrible. I got on 5 or 6 and hit my head every time before my feet did. So my feet hanging in the stirrups was not for me.
Right.
I did not like that. And the bareback riding, it was a lot like jumping a dirt bike or jumping a snowmobile. It got my blood pumping. I enjoyed it. It was kind of a fist fight. It was really aggressive right off the bat. From 11, I had a little horse. I got him from Mo Forbes Cub Forbes, Sandy Forbes up in Kaycee, Wyoming. And his front feet would get off the ground maybe 4 inches and his back feet maybe 8 inches. And if I started to fall off, he would stop. And he would follow my dad around, pickup man. I would lay back. I'd put my hand in the rigging and then lay back like this. And my dad was on the pickup horse, and I would nod, and he would open the gate and ride out of the way. And then I would have the flank through the top bar and flank the horse like that with my free arm. And we did that every Tuesday and Thursday growing up. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great memories. But I rode that horse until I was 16. My dad would never let me get on another horse because that's how bad I was. Could not get it down even on a little hopper. And I spurred that horse probably about 3 weeks in a row, and the news was coming. KSL, Channel 5, Rod Zundell, this guy that's a real popular sports broadcaster from Utah. And I'm like, Dad, you got to let me get on Humpty Dumpty. He's like, you're not ready. If you really want to, the cameras are here. I'm like, all right. He two jumped me, and my dad, he just come up. I was laying on my back and just not air knocked out of me, and he comes up and he just goes, told you weren't ready. I was like, dang, thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. KSL, thumbs up,
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but growing up, I'm serious. I was so fortunate. The way I was brought up in the bareback ride, and he did it the right way. He taught me on an easy horse, and then when I scaled up to some more bucking horses, I was doing it right. I never created bad habits, and then started high school rodeo and halfway through my junior year, and had a lot of fun with that. But was team roping and still focused on the team roping a little bit and having fun with that. And I really didn't get focused on the bareback riding until I was 16. And when I was 16, I was like, man, Marvin Garrett stopping at the house, so many of my dad's friends, Clint Johnson, somebody that I look up to and have so much respect for, they come by the house and see what they've accomplished and where they're at in life right now as they're retired cowboys. And it was like, man, this is the life that I want. This is exactly what I want. I want to be a world champion. I remember, I don't know if it was my senior year or the year after, I college rodeoed for my dad, and I was like, look, Dad, I don't want to do anything else. And he said, well, then you got to start working at it harder than you are right now. He was the rodeo coach, and he said, I'll make a deal with you. If you win the college title, you don't have to pay me rent, and you don't have to come back to school for your second year. I was like, all right, it's on. This is so that was in 2000, and my permit year was 2006. I had a lot of fun rodeo. And 2007 was my rookie year. Come up a little short, college rodeoed, and then in 2008 or in 2007, I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want. I'm going to write down my goals. Help me do it. And he's like, I ain't helping you. I ain't getting on any bucking horses for you. This is all you. It's one-on-one here. And wrote down my goals, and it was right then that I knew I was going to be a world champion. There wasn't any doubt in my mind that I couldn't do it. There wasn't anything that was going to stop me. I wanted to be known as the best. I wanted to be remembered as the best. I wanted my name to speak after I'm dead. Rodeoing full time, not that I take anything back. I have the best memories ever, but I was so capable of so much more at a younger age. But the experiences that I had and the things that I did have shaped me what I am today, and I wouldn't change anything. But growing up with my dad in my back pocket, everybody has a coach, whether it be Donald Trump, whether it be LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, you name it. Those guys have coaches at all times and someone that's telling them to critique different things. And when I had that in my corner, my dad, it was, get on, nod, smile and wave, win, and it was easy. It was effortless.
Right.
For a long time. And then after my dad, he got sick, I remember leaving to the NFR. I'd won 4 world titles. It's 2015 NFR. He'd always sat in those front seats right there above the bucking chutes, and they've had those seats. My grandma, they had those seats when he was going there and competing. And it was a weird feeling not having him there in front of the bucking chute, standing behind me, strong mark out, but you better remember to have fun. That was kind of the thing me and my travel partners would do. Behind the chutes, we'd leave the locker room and come out and be like, hey, what are you going to ask Lew for advice tonight? I'm like, strong mark out and have fun. Jesse would go over, Jesse Davis, guy I traveled with, would go over and say, hey, Lew, any advice for tonight? Strong mark out and have fun. The rest takes care of itself, you know? So it was pretty fun. And then 15 rolled around, and I just wasn't the same guy in Vegas, you know? It was, I was motivated and hungry to win a fifth world title, what my dream is. But at the same time, there was just little mistakes that happened that week at the NFR that would have never happened before. And so that was kind of hard to comprehend. And then not to win the world title and come home and see my dad sick. That was a time in life that I didn't like. I didn't like seeing him sick. To me, my dad was Superman. He was going to outlive pancreatic cancer, even though it's 1% chance that you do live. Not my dad. All the way up until the day before he died, I didn't think he was going to die. And like no way in my mind doubted it ever. And then we got him horseback the day before he died. It was pretty neat. He rode up, big old buck jumped out of the hay barn, and he couldn't really talk at this time. He's, look at that buck, look at the buck. And he had an old horse named Chief and handled it perfectly. And it was cold. It was 5 degrees out, wintertime, February. Came in, and it's honestly like that's all he waited for was to be horseback. One more time, and then he came in and passed away that night. It was pretty neat. Every one of us were right there with him by the bed and said our goodbyes, and then he passed away, and his dog was out barking and howling. Spot. It was crazy. It was something to see. Those dogs know that's weird, but his dog was special. And then, so that was February of 16, and then the ERA was 16, and then 17 come around. I was mad at the world. I was hungry. Wanted to win that 5th world title more than anybody else has. Joe Alexander and Bruce Ford have won 5 world titles in the bareback ride, and nobody else has done that. No one's won 6. That was my goal when I started. I can't remember where it was. I had to get my qualifications back because I wasn't getting in the big rodeos because of the ERA in 2016. 17, rode really well through the spring, and then I went to Clovis. It was Clovis. And at the beginning of the year, I was like, I don't care what the draw is. I'm going to go get on everything. Even if it's a known piece of shit, I'm still going to go, and I'm going to make that horse work for me. I'm going to win on him. Clovis, a horse, come over backwards, drove my arm in the ground, broke it for the second time. Didn't come back until the 4th of July. Come back on the 4th of July, a horse rolled over me and re-broke it, and continued rodeoing throughout the 4th. Thought I could just do it. I developed a lot of bad habits. 2018, I didn't make the NFR in 17, and to sit in the stands and watch the NFR after you've been there and done it, and then knowing your capabilities and you're not done rodeoing, to sit there in the stands and to go around and shake people's hands and, hey, how you doing? Why aren't you here? You know, well, bad luck. No BS. Poor me. I broke my arm, felt bad for myself.
Right.
It was a hard thing for me to go down, for one, and fulfill my contracts with my sponsors and go sign autographs. I didn't want to be there to sit there and watch guys that I know I could beat day in and day out go and win that kind of money, and then win a go-around buckle and win an average buckle and a gold buckle. That didn't sit well with me at all. 2018 come around and felt really good, but still just a little bit off of my game. And it wasn't until I won the American the first time where it was like, okay, you're the best. Before I should say that, meaning this not as I don't mean to be cocky. I'm a very humble winner, but in my mind, to be the best, you have to believe in yourself. You have to dream of being the best. You have to say you are the best to be able to do it. And so, I'm the best. I'm the best there's ever been. I'm the best bareback rider. I can ride any bucking horse everybody else can't win on that one. Well, I can. And that's what went through my mind in 18, and then went to the NFR and did all right, didn't win around. And to not win around, I won around every year I went to the NFR. Won 4 several times, won 5 one year. And the past 2 years, I haven't won a round at the NFR. It's been something that is in the rodeo world. The NFR is what everybody, the credibility that comes from the NFR is kind of what stamps, your credit, your status, I don't know what you would say it is. If you don't go to the NFR, you're nothing pretty much in the rodeo world.
Right. No, 100%.
So, I mean, to go there and not win any round buckles, and to be sitting here today and looking forward to this year, the 2020, even know what's going on, it's like, man, how could you be so stupid with your preparation and then your mindset of going into those NFRs? What were you thinking? It's bareback riding. You're complicating it. Mark them out and give it your all, and that's all it is. You can't make it more than that.
Right.
So,
you got to be a little kinder to yourself, don't you think? You went through I got to sit here and listen to you talk about your dad in the most positive, favorable light that, any parent would love to hear that kind of admiration from their kid. I know that I would. I know that you damn sure would with any of your kids. So to hear you talk about having, and then have that taken from you, you got to be kind to yourself, because you went through something so traumatic, man. You really did.
Yeah, I did, and it was tough. And to go and get on a bucking horse, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to leave my family. It was one of those kind of deals where I had to go and get on bucking horses. I didn't get to go get on bucking horses. I didn't get to go and win. It was, if you don't win, you can't pay the bills, or if you don't win, you can't you can't take your family on a vacation.
Right.
It was one of those kind of state of minds that I was in, which is pathetic to say. I hate admitting that, but that's where I was, and it wasn't a fun time in life. Don't get me wrong, I have great memories from those years, and me and my kids, we had great times, and me and my traveling partners, we had great times. But when it come to stand on the back of the bucking chutes and getting ready to run my hand in the rigging, there was a different Kaycee Feild at those rodeos compared to from when I started all the way up into 2015, and then now again in 2019 and 2020. Kaycee Feild's back, and it's fun. I feel my dad all the time, spiritually. I've done things to kind of comfort myself, comfort my spirits, to know that after rodeo, the family will be taken care of, that life is going to continue, this lifestyle that I've lived, which is amazing, to be a rodeo cowboy and have the friends that I do and meet the peoples that I do and see the things that I see, and come down to Fort Worth and have an amazing Mexican lunch.
Yeah, dude, that place is good, right?
Dang good, yeah. Right? It's everywhere down here.
That's just the normal thing. Tex-Mex down here is the best. I'm glad you came when they were open.
Yeah,
so that was good. But so you kind of touched on this, and this is one of the things like that I've kind of discovered with you is like, dude, I think I could talk to you about business more than I can rodeo, because you're doing something that's so intelligent, and you're setting up your future for when rodeo's done.
Yeah, and I had a brain injury last year, and I tease people. I tease myself too, that after I hit my head and had a brain injury, I got a lot smarter. Started a business. We started Power Pro CBD. It's doing really good. It's a fun business. To learn business is a lot like rodeo. You bareback riding, if you turn your toe out, you feel this. Well, with business, if you market strategy this way, you're going to feel the income come this way. And there's lots of little different things, and it's not a whole lot different than rodeo. It's, BSing with your buddies and BSing about bucking horses. Well, now I'm just BSing about business and trying to find the people that are great mentors for me, and surround yourself with good people that can help you out. And it's the same thing in rodeo. You find great traveling partners that help you strive to be better each and every day, and business is the same way. You have the same goals and the same mentality with your partners and the same mentors. And anytime you get around a great businessman, I feel like I annoy the crap out of them with all the questions I have, but it's something new, and it's learning something new, and always learning each day and every day to try to be better. And when I'm done rodeo, and I want to be able to go and see my rodeo buddies. I want to go to Spanish Fork or Cheyenne or Pendleton and be able to just slip out the back door and go hang out with my buddies. And this is a way that I see myself doing that. And I've always said I want to give back to the sport of rodeo, and this is a way I'm going to be able to do that. We're going to start sponsoring a few events. We sponsored the Riggin rally. There's a lot of opportunity that comes from it. And Power Pro CBD is our first one. We got gel blasters going, and then we're coming out with Wild and Free, a dog treat, the only elk 100% wild game elk dog treat. And it's just a new day every time I go over to the office, and to hear your phone go cha-ching when you get an order, that's a dang good feeling. That's a win. That's a circuit rodeo win right there.
Yeah. I mean, to have income coming in that is not rodeo it's so important, because a guy like you who's had, I mean, you've been plagued with some injuries, couple broken arms, your brain. I mean, to make sure that you're okay if something were to go wrong, it's so smart to do that. And it's every time I get to hear a rodeo cowboy or cowgirl who's setting up their future, knowing that there's a shelf life on the sport, it just creates even if I don't really know that person that well, it creates I'm glad. I'm glad that it's not going to be somebody who's in the poorhouse a couple years after rodeo. Because you've got a platform that you can use to transition into other things now more than ever.
Well, I appreciate you so much saying that. Thank you. But, it dawned on me when I hit my head. I'm wearing these other brands on my shirt for, I thank my sponsors every day. I wouldn't be here with them today without them. But at the same time, I'm wearing these other brands and getting some of the best publicity in the world in front of fans from every market, from big city to small city, country boy. And it kind of dawned on me, you need to be marketing your own brands. You need to have Power Pro CBD on your shirt. You need to have gel blasters on your shirt. This is what's going to benefit you after rodeo. These sponsors are great right now, but when your career's over and you're not in front of thousands of fans, how do they justify paying you? You can't.
They can't. Period. Yeah, it's a business transaction on their end more than anything else, which now you're in business and you understand that more.
Exactly. And before, not that I would think that sponsors would stick with me for the rest of my life, but at the same time, my 4 world championships to a sponsor, that doesn't mean much to them. They want social media. They want me in front of thousands of fans, and that's all that matters. And that's business. That's cut
business.
Cut and dry. That's the way it is. And so it dawned on me, and here I am today. And a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I would have never guessed in a million years that I'd be running my own business and have a couple of other little things going on and bringing in, a pretty diverse revenue. It's fun. It really is.
Well, it's just good because people need to take a page out of that book and do it for themselves. There's so much opportunity, not so much right now because everything that's going on. But as far as opportunity goes, there's so much opportunity. It's just kind of having the stones to do things, which is something I've learned over the last few years myself, is just do it.
Yeah.
And you're a testament to that. I mean, we talked about all the ideas and the business stuff, and, it's just doing it is about all that matters, really.
I remember I've been trying to get my partners, they're named Tom and Thomas Maurer, Whithill, and I've been trying to do business with these guys. They're very successful. They've sold a couple businesses for multi-million dollars, and they're from my community, and so I've been trying to figure something out, a protein packet, energy drink, something that I could put my name on, and went and knocked on the door, and they were working on CBD, and they asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. And at first I was like, man, I don't know, CBD, the misconception, especially here in my home state, Utah, very conservative. It's a very strong LDS state also,
right?
Community.
Yeah.
And
Utah, it's the LDS state.
Yeah.
It's very strong LDS. No, it's the
it
LDS
is.
state. Yeah.
And the field name is very prominent there, and so I didn't want to diminish my name, but I did not want to do anything to harm my dad and his legacy that he had left behind. And I called my brother. I was like, "Hey, Shad, I have an opportunity with Mowers, CBD. I don't know. The misconception is still a real thing here in the state of Utah. Maybe not in the rest of the United States, but in Utah it is." And he's like, "Dude, are you kidding me?" I'm like, "Well, Shad, I don't know, Dad's name, my name. I don't want to strap that on and lose or have negative things come toward our family from this." And he says, "Dude, if you got an opportunity to go in partners with those guys that have done it and done very well, dude, I can't believe you're calling me. You're dumb."
Wait, is this the same brother that beat two guys up with an open hand slap? I would probably listen to him. You don't want to be that guy.
Shad is a stud. Shad's a businessman also.
Yeah.
My brother is a stud. And my sister too. She is an angel. My sister, honestly, there's not a better person in the world in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, she's a saint. My brother, he is so comical, so funny. If you meet him and you don't love him and you don't crave to be around him, something's wrong with you. and his business, he's got several different things going on all the time. It's once a week, twice a week. Dude, Case, hey, this is an opportunity. There's a trailer park right down the road. They've got 50 trailers. 40 of them need mowed over, but we could make an RV park out of that. This is a big opportunity. You got some money? You want to throw it at it? I mean, this is it. And I'm not kidding you. It's every other week he's calling me with some opportunity and wanting to do something together.
He's just a shark. Yeah.
Oh, he is.
Badass. Yeah, those are the guys that do great things, though, in business.
He does, too. And it's, whether it be oil field, cows, planes, I mean, it's whatever he touches, it turns to gold. He does. He's something special. But yeah, so I talked to him for a little bit about it and went back into the office with the Mauer, sat down, signed the deal. We kind of structured it kind of how I would like to see it, to give back to the sport of rodeo. I have a strong passion for military also, and I think there's going to be some ways we can give back to the military through this. And there's a lot of opportunity for me right now, and I couldn't be happier with where I'm at. And bareback riding could be a little better. Tim could be second and me first, but I'll let him kind of have that sweet taste for a little bit anyways.
Dude, yeah, the rivalry you have going with Tim O'Connell is pretty fun.
It is.
To watch.
It really is. And Clayton Bigelow, too, he won the world title last year. He's a cowboy. That little kid, I mean, he ropes really well. He rides bucking horses extremely well. I've known him for a while and knew he was going to do really good. And he's fun to tease around and be with behind the chutes. We get along really well. And Tim, too. I love Tim. Tim is one of those guys that he's so competitive that it's black or gray, you know. There's no in between at the rodeo. And so to tease him at the rodeos or kind of mess around with him a little bit, I get a good kick out of it. And I think after the competition's done and he's in his truck on his way home, I think he kind of loosens up and gets a giggle every once in a while out of it.
I mean, he was pretty funny when he was on here.
Oh yeah, he's a funny guy. He's a great
funny
guy. Yeah, but when he gets to the rodeo for bareback riding, he puts his gear bag down, and you see a different Tim O'Connell. I mean, he is. Not that I'm not focused, but it's just a different focus. He gets focused from when he puts his gear bag down an hour before the rodeo, where when I hear the national anthem, that's when I turn my motor on. And
right.
It's something else to see him taping up and shapping up and getting ready to ride and pacing around. And he drinks about 10 5-hour energies, so it's awesome. Tim, he's a great guy, great competitor, but it's the bareback riding too. It's a very tight group. I don't think there is a tighter group in the rodeo event to event. Every guy in the bareback riding's best friends and can tell some kind of story with one another, or traveling group to traveling group. It's pretty dang fun and pretty dang tight. It's a pretty cool little brotherhood.
You know, that's what's so great about rodeo is for the most part, it's like one of the only sports where there's not like huge rivalries, you know, which I could probably do with a little bit maybe to create some excitement, but there's like oh, you got to keep those two guys apart or they're going to go to blows every time. You know, if you look at something like boxing or even some football, like other sports, that's one thing I really want to see in rodeo. Not that I want to see somebody get beat up or fights and stuff, but it would be really neat to have that dynamic in any of the events. Kind of like a Fred Whitfield, Cody Old type thing. You know, where they're just like, I don't like that dude, or I don't like that dude. And part of some of the press would just be that, you know, you can't let them be back there at the same time. We got to separate these guys.
There is that.
Is there?
Oh, yeah.
You just don't see it.
You don't see it. There is one picture of a guy that's got a black eye the night before the NFR started.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. There is that goes on, but the bareback riders, they do it kind of behind scenes, which is good. But, I mean, there is some guys that you show up to the rodeo together and you can feel the tension between them, and it's...
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious.
That sounds great. I would love to, like, I want that to be part of, like, a Sports Center thing. You know, behind the buck and shoots.
I do too, but at the same time, like, the Western image, the cowboy hat, the cowboy boots, you know, everybody's so...
That's the thing.
The cowboy way, you know, you see a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, you respect that person no matter what. You do.
Right.
Cowboy to cowboy, that's just the way it is. And so to be that outsider that knocks the crap out of somebody and, you know, have them show up and shake hands and, you know, be cordial about it, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's over with. It's done. You can't do anything about it. You know, if we do it again, we do it again.
Right. I mean, I guess it's okay because that is definitely the cowboy way, but just those people who are black sheep or so outside of the box. We're talking about Sid Steiner. That dude was a different cat at the rodeos. You know, if you look at Sid Steiner when he was, I mean, just the things that dude was a trailblazer.
He was, you know, and I just think that's passion.
Yeah.
You know, he had so much passion behind what he was doing and wanting to be a world champion. He was a smaller guy in the bulldog, and so he kind of had that little man syndrome that he was going to show them big bulldoggers, you know.
Yeah.
I can do this. I'll show you big suckers how it's done.
Right.
You know, and he did, not only in the arena either, you know. He made it a point that Sid Steiner is a bad dude and don't mess with him. And that's, I mean, Sid, it's kind of branded himself that way nowadays. Yeah. It's his passion toward bulldogging, and not to say his style, cornrows and
it's so cool
jeans.
To me.
Oh, it is. I
like to see that as somebody who like gets made fun of for wearing cutoff shorts. Like, yo, you can't be a cowboy with those cutoff shorts. He's like, oh yeah, you ever heard of a guy called Sid Steiner? He thinks a little differently. So that's why I actually never even met him, but I love that guy because he represents something that's just a little different.
Yep.
Right. Which diversity is so important in everything.
It is. And I think that's one reason that the Steiner name is spoken about so much right now is, you know, Bobby, he was a world champion bull rider. They produce rodeos, and they produce the most flamboyant rodeos. I mean, every one of their workers that were at the rodeo, if you were pulling gates or running the strip and shoot, you look better than anybody there. I mean, silk shirt, white felt hat, perfectly shaped. They did it right. They did it, you know, very flamboyant. So the Steiner name has stuck that way. And Bobby, he's 67, 68 years old, still has a six-pack. He's just so motivating to be around. I don't get on practice horses that much at all. I get on practice horses at my house with very select few people there. I want it to be perfect, but I'll go down to Steiner's and I'll practice anytime just because of their mentality. Bobby, Sid, they want you to be the best. Every time you can feel it when they talk to you. You know, when you're about to nod your head, Bobby's, you know, hey, ride this one perfect, and he's pumping iron, he's veins popping out, he's more ready than you are. And, I mean, it's a neat feeling to go down there and practice. And Sid, I mean, he wants the best for me. He wants the best for Tilton. He wants the best for Rocker, and you can feel that love from him. And it just, his passion that went into the bulldog, and it's the passion that he has about his friends and his family and the sport of rodeo. And now Rocker getting into it and being a bareback rider, Sid did it the right way. He had the right guys around for him to start. He had the right horses to start on to where he didn't have any bad habits. He rode perfect every time. And then when they run a good one underneath him, a bucker or something that bucks harder than he's used to getting on, he knocks it out of him, rides perfect, 90 points, and he's 15-year-old kid. He's done it the right way, and he's been in the right environment the whole time. And Rocker's going to go far in this sport. He really will. I think the judging thing, that's the only thing with Rocker and Sid and Bobby that, sometimes it just doesn't go your way in the bareback riding. With myself, what I've seen in my career is I've ride perfect, say 10 in a row, and I ride the 11th one really, really good, but it's not up to my standards, but I still beat everybody else in the performance.
Right.
But they don't mark me that way. They mark me against Kaycee,
Right.
And so I think that's going to be a hard thing for the Steiners to swallow for a little bit, and to keep Rocker's head on straight, is it just doesn't fall your way every time, even though you ride perfect every time.
With the judging, though, so that's always the question, right? Not just with anything that there's judges in, but like because he has a big name, it may go his way more, right? Because he does have a big name and he's kind of got this style about him, right? I mean,
for sure, he looks good doing it.
Yeah,
he's a good-looking kid. He's done it the right way. The Steiner's name is an established name in the rodeo world, so everybody's already going to be having their eyes on him and expecting something.
Right.
The judging too, I would never want those guys as judge or to be a judge. Their job, it's just, it's tough.
Right.
It's a tough job, and I just think that the personal opinion that goes into the bareback riding and the saddle bronc riding, the bull riding, there's a lot more personal opinion in it than just judging.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the judges, a lot of them are my great friends. I've known them my whole career, and that's the judging is the judging, and you can't do anything about it. You can't control it. The only thing you can control is going out there and doing your best, and they know. If they've been watching you for 13, 14 years, they know when you're there to win and when you're there just to show up to get a check.
Right.
And it kind of shows in their scoring sometimes.
Right.
But it's something that's, Rocker will learn, and Rocker will even get better from it.
Right.
It's going to be fun to watch.
It's just a cool kid. I mean, the whole deal is cool, that they're involved in, and then having guys like you around. I can't imagine what it would be like being a 15-year-old kid who wants to aspire to that, to having guys like you around and Tilden, and just, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't take it for granted a second.
No, he doesn't. And he's always asking questions, and Sid, they send me videos, and, we go over a few things, and Tilden, he's always there when they practice, and Tilden does it the right way. But we've been around for so long, and we've been friends for, forever. So it's a lot like when my dad was coaching me. It was just my dad. It wasn't a 5-time world champion cowboy. I didn't have any added pressure.
Right.
And Rocker's in the same way. We're buddies,
Right.
We go to the lake together. We have a good time.
Right.
Hang out, and me and his dad are best friends, and, it's just another guy, and he can help me, and he listens, and it's fun to watch.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's real lucky for him and anybody who gets to have anything like that, just like you did with your dad, and it's interesting. So another thing we were talking about, and we kind of got off on talking about Steiners a little bit, which is probably pretty easy to do because they're so cool. But we were talking about the misconception about earnings in rodeo, how it actually works.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Uh-huh. No, that's I don't know how to start this, but, people look at the world standings and they see the patches on your shirt, and so they automatically assume that you're making bank. They see that you won 100,000 at the American, or they see that you won Calgary. Those things, they don't understand that what it takes to do what I've done as long as I've done it. The medical bills that I've had to pay take a lot of it. I mean, a lot of it. I've had a hip surgery, several broken arms, brain injury, broken face, torn up shoulders. I mean, and it comes with the territory. I'm not saying I've got it worse than anybody else, but people, they see that number and they automatically treat you differently. And that's what I don't like about the only thing that I wish I could change about rodeo is the way that people look at us. We're no different than a farmer, a rancher, a guy that, starting his first business. It's no different. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to fall on his face. He's going to lose his ass. He's going to lose everything he has, and he's going to have to restart and do it again. And with the rodeo world, and especially in the bareback riding, that's how it is. I mean, you could be on top of the world and you could have a lot in the bank account, but the next ride you could hit your head, and however many dollars it takes to pay your medical bills, that money is gone. But it's still up on the board. It's still out there in the public, and everybody reads it. And then when you come back and you continue winning, and it adds up and it adds up, well, all that winning, it's still going to the mailbox and going to the post office to pay those bills. And the people that have been in rodeo and understand it and see what you've done and understand where you're at, and they respect you for that, that's a dang good feeling. But when you have people that come up and, oh man, you're so rich, and you got a ranch and you got horses and you've won 4 world titles and you got sponsors, dude, you've got life made. It's so good for you. It's so easy. That ain't it at all.
No.
I think
not even close.
I think the more that you have on your resume in rodeo, I think the less you have in your bank account. I mean, I hate to say it, but to win a world title, say it takes $250,000 to win the world in the standings. Well, it took $230,000 to actually go ahead and win that world title. To take home $25,000, $30,000, whatever that be, that's a lot of money at the end of the year. And it's a special feeling to be able to come out on top at the end of the year rodeoing.
Oh man, yeah, absolutely. But it's important for people to know that, though, right? What you just said about somebody who wants to do it. They got to realize it. Like, if somebody were to try to get into rodeo to make money, it's the wrong reason.
Yeah, to say you're 18 years old and you're looking at all these different careers you could take, which to go back on that, I thought I had the most secure job in the whole dang world until coronavirus come down and I'm out of a job. No one wants to go see a redneck at a rodeo. but no, it's that's something, and that's why I think rodeo kind of, it was climbing, and then in the 90s and early 2000s, it kind of hit a plateau a little bit. But now we're starting to see it climb again, and I think guys are kind of educating the youth about when you start, it's not just about winning. It's about branding yourself. It's about your smile. It's about who you are behind scenes, and it's about, going creating your own sponsor dollars. It's not about sponsors coming to you and hey, we can give you this and we can give you that. It's not that way. It's you brand yourself from the beginning. It's your smile, it's your personality that sponsors, maybe even think about being a partnership with you. Mm-hmm. And then you go to them and you tell them what you can give the brand of Polaris, or you can give the brand of Power Pro. What can you bring to the table? And when you learn that, when you have goals and you have big dreams to be a world champion, but at the same time you understand your brand as a person and you can go to these sponsorships, that's when guys are successful in rodeo. That's when guys make a difference, like Trevor Brazil. I mean, Relentless, the brand. If you're in the rodeo world and you don't know what Relentless is or Trevor Brazil, you haven't been watching the best. You haven't been watching not only the best in the sport, but the best businessman in the sport to grow and to continue this life that we live after your career is done. It's not very long at all. It's a short period of your time in life, especially. But when you understand how to communicate and how to talk to big sponsors and how to talk to committees when you're going around to these rodeos all across the country and you run into, motivational people, it's important to be able to speak wisely, speak about what you love in a good way and not a hillbilly way that, I'm just a cowboy. I'm tough. I'm going to go get on this bucking horse. It's not just that. There's a lot that goes into it. And when you learn that, you'll be a lot more successful for sure.
Yeah. The world we live in, everything's about branding.
It is. It really is. And it's more and more with social media and everything being in your hand, on your phone. Mm-hmm. It's a very important thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think as far as a bareback rider, not many people have done it like you have,
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's bareback riding, my rigging and my glove have brought so much to my life. The opportunities that I've had to go over to the Middle East and say thanks to our troops. I went over there 7 years in a row with the Wrangler National Patriot Program. I'm not with Wrangler anymore. I'm with Area International, but still those 7 years that I got to go over there and say thank you. And honestly, I credit a lot of my success to going over and seeing that firsthand, seeing war and how ugly it is. Made me grow up a lot in 2010 to where the way I prepared for bareback riding, the way I prepared for life, I took a step back and looked at it and realized how great we have it here in America. And, not just the Wrangler National Patriot Program that I got to be able to travel the world, but with sponsorships and the things the trips, the friendships, the places, it's an amazing life. It really is. And in my opinion, there's not a better life to live than the one I have, the one that my competitors have. Even in other events, Tyler Pearson, Kyle Irwin, them guys, they came up snowmobiling with me, and a couple of kids from Louisiana, and I think Tyler, he's from Oklahoma.
Yep.
Them guys to come out to Utah, beautiful Utah, and play in the snow and snowmobile and have a good old time. The opportunities that just come from a friendship is pretty amazing. The sport of rodeo, and the behind the scenes stories that need to be told are so amazing that, I'm a true rodeo fan. I love watching the bulldog, and I love watching the calf rope and the barrel racing. And when you've been in the sport and you learn about those people and you learn where they came from and you watch them come from nothing and be successful and you get to see them win, that's a cool thing to witness. It really is.
That's my favorite part of rodeo, because I've been fortunate enough to know a lot of rodeo people, a lot of them, and getting to see that journey through those people and even through my own family members. And to just really understand it. There's no better sport in the world. There's just not. And that's the whole reason for this show is just it deserves so much time and so much credit. The sport of rodeo does. And people like you name the person. You just named a bunch of them. There's so much to those people outside of that 8 seconds for you or 10 seconds for whatever it is. There's so much more to these people and this culture and what it represents to all of us. It doesn't matter if you're a podcaster, if you're a bareback rider, if you're a fan. The culture that we are so fortunate to enjoy, to be in it in any capacity, there's just nothing like it.
There's not. There's really not. I always say that the Western culture is the most patriotic, but they're the most Christ-like people. And I think when you say that they're the most Christ-like, that just falls hand in hand with America. And it's so fun to see, like I said, someone's beginning of their career and you watch them for 4 or 5 years and they're so close to making it and so close to making it. And then you see them get on a heater and you're on the back of the buck and shoots watching the bulldog and it's like, oh, dude, yeah, helicopter him. Oh, dude, that was a sweet run, It's so much fun. And then after the rodeo, you get to see that with 7 different events. And so your buddies that you get to go and pull for and, hey, man, nice job. That was awesome. You got it this year. You're going to the NFR. Dude, this world title, it's shaping up pretty good for you. It's so much fun to see that. And
well, it's just for them to be all so different, but this blanket that is rodeo and the camaraderie that goes along with that. I mean, it's special. It just, and that's why it's one of the oldest sports in the world, because it's special. But
it is special. It really is. And the guys that you've had on this show and the guys that are going to be on the show, man, hats off for you for telling these stories and letting these guys speak too. Because like Corey Solomon, like you were saying, you know, some people kind of thought he was kind of a little bit of an arrogant asshole, but you know, you don't understand how much passion he has about this. You don't know his upbringing. You don't know.
You don't know his struggles. Like I'll tell you, ain't nobody gonna talk bad about Corey Solomon in front of me. I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
I'll put a swing on you.
Yeah,
you know, it's just that everybody has their individual struggles, and some of it looks really easy. You know, some people may look at someone and be like, "Oh, well, they had all this. They had all this. They still had to work their ass off." Or somebody like Corey or like Ivy, who had to scrape, you know, and dig for change underneath the floor mats of the pickup to get there. It's just, some people maybe didn't have to do that. Some did, but it's a journey. It's an individual journey.
It is. And I think when you have people that, you know, maybe didn't have it as easy as other people, I think that's when a win gets so sweet. I think that's when you see something spectacular that you are like, you get emotional for them. And it's,
oh, absolutely.
And it's a special feeling that you don't get in any other sport. You don't get it in any other industry. And rodeo fans that understand that, and competitors that are pulling for other people and other competitors in different events, it's to watch somebody, and like Tilden, you know, oh man, I can't remember his name. A team roper. Tilden knew him. He's a healer. He heals so good. Can see his face. He won the American this year. He's hilarious. But Tilden, he went to college with him, and I rodeoed side by side with him for several years, and you know, we do have a good time and say, "Hey, how you doing?" and have good laughs or whatever. But Tilden, after telling me his upbringing and what he went through and how he's here, and the mule that he had to ride to team rope on before he could pay for a nice horse, that's just, you love to see him win. It's fun to watch that, and it's the journey, like you said, and each and every competitor, it's something special, very special.
I was going to try to look it up, but it's not working.
I can see his face.
Luke Brown and Joseph Harrison.
Joseph Harrison.
Yep, Joseph Harrison.
I love seeing
cut
that
all
guy
that
win.
stupid out and just let me be the hero and saying Joseph Harrison is who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Kaycee, obviously. It's
sorry.
Joseph Harrison.
I'm sorry. No, that guy's a stud, though, and when you hear his story, and you know, it's awesome. Chad Masters, that guy, he's got one of the coolest stories ever about making it, and you know, sleeping in his truck, and hard times, and riding one horse, and 23 years old, 24 years old, and just him and that horse trying to make it, and him trying to keep that horse, you know, legged up and healthy enough to go to the next rodeo. And it's a cool sport.
It's
really
cool.
is.
And the resilience of the people who are in it. I mean, anybody, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're left, right, center. You know, you may disagree with it, because the calves and all that. There's something to be learned from resilient people who do amazing things.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And going over to the Middle East and seeing war firsthand, and the resiliency that I seen over there, the people that I would want to go to war with are rodeo competitors. I mean,
100%.
I mean, they could take a bullet and hop right back up and not even know it. They're shot and just go to wiping people out. I mean, just the mentality of rodeo cowboys. I mean, kindest heart, most humble people, but at the same time, you flip that switch, and I mean, they are ruthless winners. That's the way I'd like to say it. It's just ruthless winners. They do whatever it takes. Pain does not matter in the rodeo game when it comes to winning.
Can't. Yeah, it can't. And the history of rodeo, what the events actually came from. You know, it came from a time where life was so hard, and all these events are based off something that was just a way of life, which it's just so cool when you think about it.
It really is.
You know, saddle bronc riding, the oldest event. I mean, breaking colts. It's the coolest thing if you think about like how they created a sport out of daily life.
It really is. And I mean, where it came from and where it is now and where I see it going and where I believe it will be in the future is going to be so cool. It's going to trump Major League Baseball. It's going to trump NFL. Them guys that kneel for the flag. Yeah, you don't do that at rodeo.
No, you just don't because there's so much pride in the country that
there is.
Rodeo exists in. You know what's crazy that I've noticed I've been getting messages from people from all over the world. Sweden, Australia, Wales. Like, there's rodeo fans all over the world.
No kidding.
All over the world. I know there's PBR, but actual rodeo fans. I've gotten messages on Instagram and Facebook from people from all over the country. Or, not, well, but all over the world. And I shouldn't drink Tito's during the day. Whatever. It's a bad habit at this point. But it's just amazing. Yeah, exactly. It's just amazing to see. And for me personally, that's my personal goal, is to do my part with everybody. I can sit in that seat where you're at, that we at the Gauge can sit in that seat to help grow it. You know, that's what we want. And just like you, and I think everybody wants it to grow because it's one of the most beautiful things that exists in our culture.
It is. It really is. And man, you're doing a good job at
I appreciate that.
The Gauge and the listeners that you're getting and the people that are coming onto the show. I haven't done a whole lot of podcasts, but the reputation that you guys carry, it was a no-brainer for me to fly down here to Dallas or Fort Worth, I should say, not Dallas. It's a cool thing what you're doing, and the sport needs it, you know?
It does.
The stories need to be told. It's special. Everybody has a special story, you know. Mine's dear to my heart, but you know, it might not be to Chad Masters, and his story is dear to his heart, and he wants people to know it. And that's the names. You could go on and on.
Well,
and
people need to. People need to be inspired, right? Because if I think about like my rodeo heroes, you know, for me they were all tie down ropers, but for like the people that I idolized who rodeoed, like there just wasn't any of this. Like you couldn't hear any of this unless you knew them personally.
Yeah, you've seen him on the NFR and maybe 6 times throughout the year in person.
Little sound bites. Yeah.
Yep, it's cool. This is going to be a good thing, man.
I'm glad that you were on it and got to be a part of it, and I'm glad you were so open, and you made me cry a little bit. I'm a little embarrassed. But where can everybody find you on social media?
I'm not big on Facebook, but Instagram. I try to showcase my family. That's kind of something that I want to embrace is my family and the guy that I am at home. I'm a tough competitor. When you see me on screen behind the buck and shoots, you know, I'm fierce and I'm focused and I'm there to win. You know, friends are great and everything, like I've talked about the experiences behind the shoots, but what the fans see on TV is me on the back of the buck and shoots and getting on bucking horses, and sometimes my emotions do take over and you see a different Kaycee Feild. But when you follow me on Instagram at Kaycee Feild, you get to know me pretty good. You get to know my kids. You get to know where I live and what I'm about and what I believe in, and just how I look at life and what I enjoy.
Well, you're such a dad, too. It's like I pick you up from the airport, and I'm like, what are you singing? You're like, you're welcome. Because all you watch is Moana.
Yeah. I wish you would have left that out. No, Moana, Good Dinosaur, those Disney movies, I watch a lot of them. It used to be Lonesome Dove, Young Guns, Tombstone.
Sure.
But, yeah, that's what I say on camera.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Kaycee, I get it. You're tough. You're a bareback rider. You're welcome. I know you're going to start singing as soon as it's over.
That one gets stuck in your head.
It does.
For sure.
The Rock, he's so lovable.
Oh, he
Such
is.
a likable guy.
He is. Yeah. No, my kids are fun. I enjoy them. My little man, Huxon, he's 4. He loves to ride a pony with a bareback riggin. He thinks it's pretty fun, but he's a motorhead. He's ran out of his little dirt bike. He's gone through 2 back tires, set of batteries, and it feels like every day I'm home, I patch tubes for his dirt bike and my daughter's bike. Yeah. Yeah. But it's a fun life, and it's all came from riding bucking horses. Bucking horses have provided what I have now.
Pretty amazing.
It is. It's a special thing, and would never take it for granted.
Nor should you.
Family, kids, rodeo, friends. It's a good life. I'm happy where I'm at.
This is The Gauge, hosted by Chance Conrado. Produced and edited by Ty Yeager. Marketing and content producer is Casey Burke. Executive producers Dustin Pointer and Cody Denton. Theme song is by Shay Abshire and the Night Howlers. Be sure to rate and review this podcast, as well as follow The Gauge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to visit PowerProCBD.com and use the code THEGAUGE for 15% off your purchase and free shipping. Also, subscribe to The Gauge to wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you guys next time.